You know, it's pretty interesting for Michael Thomas how quickly people have kind of written him off. You know, he has one season where he's largely hurt, and it feels like everyone's kind of saying, I guess he's not good anymore. Like, no, he's still very good. I mean, he still has over 500 receptions in 5 seasons. That's including last year when he was hurt. And prior to this year, he had 725 yards and then 1,400 yards, 1,200 yards, and 1,100 yards. So those numbers are just crazy to start his career. It's interesting because he's actually a little bit older than you would realize. He's 28, despite the fact that he's only played 5 seasons. But still, what he's able to do is crazy, and I think he's a really good player. So let's talk about just last year what he did well, because there still is a ton of stuff. He still is a great receiver, even if he was injured. So let's start off with this play. This play, a very unique, difficult route to pull off. It's a slant route. Okay, so we got to talk about slant routes, right? I mean, that's the thing about Michael Thomas is, all he does is run slant routes. I've heard people constantly criticize him. Listen, I'm a Buccaneers fan, so I spend time in the Buccaneers subreddit. They love to make fun of him for only running slants, but it's not entirely true, for one thing. We'll talk about that later. But also what we got to talk about is just how good he is at slant routes. Because sure, you can sit here and say, that's all he runs. Well, so what? He's unguardable at this kind of stuff. Watch this explosiveness, and he's going to get open. He makes the catch, and I mean, he can just do that, get the first down, like every play, it seems like. It seems like that's just something that the Saints always have as an option is, hey, Michael Thomas, go run a slant, get us 10 yards, get us the first down. That's just like a tool they always have in their toolbox, which is just, there's a ton of value in that. And so I know his yards per attempt maybe isn't crazy. His yards per attempt yards per catch is just 11.7, which is on the lower side, although not like crazy low, just on the lower side. But, a big part of it is because sometimes he just does that where he's not going to get a ton of yards, but has value. On a 3rd and 5, getting 7 yards has more value than getting 15 yards on a 3rd and 25. And, there are things like this. So this is going to be almost like a prevent defense style for Atlanta. And the reason for it is it's a 3rd and 17. So, okay, Michael Thomas, great. He's, fantastic at getting 7 yards on a 3rd and 5. Can he get 18 yards on a 3rd and 17? That's going to be a little bit more difficult, obviously. You see the route he's running. It could maybe work. You can see how it could get into a gap in coverage a little bit, but it's going to be tough. And, watch how right when this play starts, you see Thomas sort of gets to the outside right there, and you can see how this play would work, right? You can see where this throw would have to be. You can see how Michael Thomas can try and make this catch. It's going to be difficult, though. I mean, it's a far throw at this point, so it's not going to be an easy play to make. But watch what happens. I mean, you see this throw, and watch how Thomas is able to go up, make the catch, keep both feet in bounds while getting hit. I mean, that's just insane. And that's what Thomas can do. He really can do stuff like that, where he can just consistently make those difficult catches. And that's a huge part of why Breeze likes him so much. He gets targeted so frequently, but he earns those targets. He earns getting thrown the ball because of the way that he just has that huge catch radius and has such great hands that, at 6'3", he also goes up and gets it. He doesn't just rely on his height. So he has the catch radius of a lot of, bigger receivers even. And on top of that, his such great hands and still is very explosive. And you have stuff like this that really does just make me throw my hands up in the air and say, what do you even do if you're a corner? How do you stop this? So it's man coverage, and you see the route he's running, just a route over the middle, nothing too crazy. And right when this play starts, it's Taysom Hill who takes the snap, and you see how, Thomas just kind of got to the inside a little bit, right? That's the first thing he did, and he's so good at the line. He reminds me a lot of Devontae Adams. Those two players, I would say, very similar skill set. For my money, I would probably say Thomas is a little bit better. Some people might think that's a hot take. Let me know in the comments below. Who do you like better, Adams or Thomas? I think they're both kind of similar players. I don't think it's crazy to say Thomas is better, but anyways, what you see is that Thomas kind of has that inside leverage right here. And at this point, it's just going to be difficult to stop this, because watch how Thomas, he's explosive enough to get by, and you could argue, okay, there still is not a ton of separation. This is about as good of defense as you can hope for, so you're able to close up the separation. But the issue is that even if you have good closing speed and are able to, stop this separation from happening, well, then Thomas can do this. Watch him again leap up and make that contested catch and hold on. I mean, how many times have we seen that where it's geez, man, what do you do to stop that? Like, really, what do you do to stop that? I don't know. I guess maybe be even faster and somehow find a way to run over and knock the ball away, but I don't know how you can do that because, he did such a good job of giving himself that first step, and he is explosive enough that he's so hard to catch. I know the 40 time isn't going to blow you away. It was about 4.57, so, good, but not great. Kind of a little bit, certainly for a number one receiver, that's a bit on the slower side. But the difference is that, again, so big and so explosive. Those first 10 yards, his acceleration, he just starts to stop. It's like he's immediately at his top speed on these types of plays. And it also comes through on plays like this. Like, the one negative critique I think you could say about Thomas that I would agree with is that he's not exactly the best at go routes. Like, you don't see him getting too many 50-yard completions down the field. And in fairness, I don't know how much of that is Thomas's fault and how much of that is Breeze's fault, because Breeze didn't have the biggest arm these past few years. But even, in Thomas's rookie year, Breeze still had a big arm, and Thomas wasn't winning that way either. So I think it's fair to say that a big part of it is, yeah, he's not the fastest. He's not going to blow by you. He has to rely on other things, but the nice thing is he basically has every other tool in his toolbox, so who really cares? But then on a play like this, I think some people would say, okay, well, Thomas, sure, great slot guy, great at slants, all that stuff, but he can't really win on the outside. No, that's untrue. He still can consistently win on the outside. There's ways to win, not just using speed, and even a curl route like this, a lot of times this works because the corner has to be afraid of a potential deep route, so he ends up overcommitting, which you're not really going to do against Michael Thomas just simply because he's not a burner. He doesn't have 4.3 speed like some of these other guys do. However, watch on this play, you see Thomas sort of gets the outside, and then watch him cut like that and use the physicality. He's smart in that mindset where he is one of those guys where, Mike Evans is another guy where they kind of both sort of use the fact that they're bigger than everyone they're going up against to their advantage, create some contact, but don't create too much where it's going to be a penalty. That's smart from Michael Thomas. Do that kind of thing. And again, the footwork is really what's just so key. It's not fair that someone that is 6'3" should have the kind of footwork that he does. I don't get it. It doesn't logically make sense to me that he can do something like that. I think this play might be my favorite Michael Thomas play I watched, where what's crazy about this one is, he has the reputation of he's the slant guy. He's the guy who runs over the middle, and he uses that to his advantage sometimes. Sean Payton and the Saints use that to their advantage, where what's going to happen is that, it's a one-on-one matchup. Michael Thomas against Carlton Davis, who, by the way, these guys absolutely hate each other. That's irrelevant, but that's a very true thing. And watch how when Thomas goes to the outside, Davis completely was fooled on that. I'm not sure if it was man or I think it was man, but it might have just been a cover 3. However, either way, Davis was on Thomas and got completely fooled, and Thomas was easily able to pick up that first down right there. That's just a, good understanding, and kind of shows the respect guys have for the over-the-middle stuff that Thomas has. So that's what I think. So yeah, Michael Thomas is still really good. I think that he's awesome. I think that he's an incredible player, and some people will try to say, oh, he's just a product of Drew Brees. Well, his numbers have been great with every quarterback he's played with, so I just disagree with that. You could argue that him being with Sean Payton helps him. I do think that it helps him. I don't know if he gets 1,700 yards without Sean Payton, but does he get 1,300 yards without Sean Payton? Absolutely. He's a great player. If you could have Adam Gase be the offensive coordinator, he's still probably doing well. That's how good he is. So yeah, I think he's a great player. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Am I too high on Michael Thomas? Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.